increase to the debt ceiling. And then the fact that, again, this is one of those internal inconsistent things. We're saying tariffs are going to raise revenue. Well, the only way that the tariffs would raise revenues and the ways that they calculated it is if the consumption remains the exact same, which it won't, because obviously people are going to adjust their consumption based on the tariffs. And two, why would you want them to make a lot of money on tariffs? Why would you want the U.S. to make money on tariffs if the whole point of the tariffs was so that people stopped ordering international goods and started ordering domestic goods? That doesn't make any sense, right? We'd want to reduce the consumption of international goods, which would reduce the amount we collect in tariffs. So even if it's not even directionally good, it's just all of it is just horrible. It's just all of it is horrible. None of it is actually furthering anything to reduce the debt or the deficit, which is why by the end of this admin, the deficit likely won't go down. The debt absolutely won't go down. And there will be a failure on both those fronts, just like there has been with Doge, as we'll get to that. But I don't think any of the Trump people will even be willing to admit that.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously it's difficult for us to prognosticate. I would say look, at the end of Trump's presidency, the debt and the deficit have not gone down. That is a failure. And then we'll just objectively know because they said they were going to do this thing. They said that all these policies are meant to do this thing, and then they didn't do that thing. What I would say is that we need to
Well, that is incorrect. Let me tell you what would happen in that scenario with our good friend Kaizen. So, fast forward 3 or so years in the future. The debt is much higher than it is now, which, according to Kaizen, would be a definite demonstration that they failed to do what they said they were going to do. Here's the problem. All Trump and MAGA have to do is come up with any kind of lame excuse, no matter how weak it is. And this guy, rather than the way he's making you think he would be, he'd be honest and be like, well, they said they were going to do it, and they knew it. They didn't do it. Instead of doing that, he is going to grab onto anything. And that's why this stuff works, right? That's why this propaganda works, and it doesn't have to be sophisticated. This guy has basically put himself in a situation where he's making money from pandering to MAGA, right? And basically, it's bad for business for him to be like, well, okay, Trump failed, right? So he's incentivized to grab onto anything, no matter how thin or how weak, to still be like, well, such and such, right? So what happens? The debt is increased more than it's ever been increased in history. A massive failure by any measure, right? Then some dishonest clown in right-wing media, or Trump himself, or a Trump ally, goes out there and says, well, the reason for the debt is because the Democrats sabotaged the good work that we were trying to do. And we had a deep state and this and that and whatever. And that's why we were unable to do it. But if it wasn't for the Democrats, we would have had debt down to zero. We would have had it down to negative. We would have had negative debt because of all the deals that Trump could have done, if not for the entire, fake news mainstream media going to war trying to stop America from being great again. Right? That's the world of bad faith. Right? People like Kaizen and Trump and his allies, they don't care about truth. They don't care about integrity. It's all about winning, right? So it doesn't matter whether the debt goes down or goes up. I mean, Kaizen will post all day about the debt. Oh, the debt. But he doesn't care. Why would he care about the debt? This guy's making money right now. He's got Elon Musk tweeting out, talking about, oh, he's a clear thinker. He's doing good. He's not the one that has to worry about healthcare. He's not the one that has to worry about paying the mortgage or paying rent. He's not the one that's going to suffer the consequences of bad policy, right? If they pass the tax cuts, he's going to be one of the ones that's going to benefit. It's all green for him, right? But the people he's pandering to, they're the ones that have to live with the consequences. But he'll shield them from that. So when Trump increases the debt, he'll make them feel like, no, you're on a good team. It's those baddies on the left that they sabotaged him, right? After all the scandals, right? It's not going to be just Pete Hegseth. Tulsi Gabbard. There's going to be so many scandals from his administration and people leaving and whatever. After all that's said and done, Kaizen is still going to be Team MAGA. And he's going to perpetuate any excuse, any deflection that is put out by the cult. Sad reality. So one of the things that Kaizen is really good at is sounding. He really sounds reasonable. He really sounds like he's trying to have a conversation, right? He's trying to be respectful and hear people out, and he's thinking logically. He's not thinking emotionally. He's really good at playing that character. Just like how Trump is really good at playing that successful businessman character to a particular audience. Remember, entertainment has its audience, right? The top country song is not a top song if you don't like country music. Right? If you're not the target demographic of Donald Trump, then he just seems like a buffoon, and you don't get the businessman thing. But for the key demographic who watches the quote-unquote movie of Trump, he does a really good job. He seems powerful and successful, and he's always right. You can't win. There's no winning. You're not dealing with people that want to understand, that want to solve things, that want to make America great again. What Kaizen wants to do is make more money, be more famous, be able to pay his bills, take care of his family. He's worried about him. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people who donate to him and support him. To hell with those people. They could be homeless, right? They could be out on the street, struggling to survive, broke because they can't pay for their medical bills. Kaizen's going to be all right. Trump's going to be all right. Tulsi Gabbard's going to be all right. Ben Shapiro going to be all right. They're going to be all right. It's the audience. They're the ones who get screwed. Kaizen is not in it with his supporters. These people are not in it with their supporters. Their supporters are isolated and on their own. They just don't know it. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me comment section below. Click on the like button. Subscribe to my side bell. Be well.